get started, please. For the Pledge of Allegiance.
All
I
right.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
States of
of
America.
America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone.
Is Rob here?
I'm
Rob?
here.
Yeah,
There he is.
Oh, okay, good.
We'll start with approval of the minutes. Lisa, would you please take care of that? Lisa, you're
Lisa,
muted.
you're muted.
Lisa, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Approval of the minutes. Resolved upon recommendation of Superintendent Board of Education hereby approves the minutes of the August 26th.
I'm assuming she said meeting as submitted.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All those in favor indicate by raising their hand, aye.
Aye.
Okay, carried. This evening, also going to be a review of our opening of the schools and a pictorial presentation. Thereafter, we will entertain questions relating to the agenda. For those of you who will have questions, there are two opportunities for that at the after the superintendent's report and at the end. Any question not necessarily related to the agenda, we would ask that you use the chat function of the Zoom. Steve is assisting me by tracking that, and where there are common questions, putting them together so that we can address common questions. As you may or may not know, that NIFSA issued guidelines today on general conditioning, strength and agility, other athletic practices. We will not be addressing that this evening and not entertaining questions on that, or when we will be returning to full days or adding days to our program. This will be our first full week. We intend to proceed through till the end of September and examine how we're doing, examine how things are going around us, to make sure that we are in a safe place for both our students and our teachers and staff. We will take into account the entire program and how we have to make adjustments in over the next 3 weeks, with further discussion being made on the week of October 5th. So with that, Gordon, I'll turn it over to you for your report.
thanks, Bob. Ken, do you have the PowerPoint?
I just muted myself. Gordon, I need to get the PowerPoint. Yeah. That's gonna take like about a minute.
That, or maybe we could do something else when you got it. We can go back.
Yeah, I think that might be
Or Bob,
advisable.
All right, let's skip over, and we're going to go to our Roman numeral 5 personnel. Anne Marie, would you please address the resignations?
Sure. Resignations, Spanish teacher. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of Erin Pipe, Spanish teacher, effective August 31st, 2020.
May I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you. Any comments? All in favor indicate by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Vote carries. Thank you. Anne Marie, we continue with the school district aides.
Sure. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby accepts the following resignations. Kathleen Hall, School District Aide, resignation date 8/31/2020. Sally Smith, School District Aide, resignation date 8/31/20.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Just a short comment on my part. Our aides are always the backbone of our operation and are directly involved with our children on a regular basis. We thank them for their service and thank those who are with us still. And all in favor, please indicate by aye. Aye?
Aye.
Okay. How are we doing, Ken?
I have the PowerPoint, opening it right now. Just give me a sec. Share screen. There it is. Share. Okay.
There you go.
Bingo. You're up, Gordon. Thank you. Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome.
And thanks, Bob. This is a pictorial. It's easy. It's a visual. I'd like to point out what we did all summer. And we're basically complete in all of this construction, all of these upgrades. And, you know, we're ironing out some final technology pieces, thanks to Ken. You know, one of the things you're going to see one camera, but we installed 160 webcams in every room. And there were new computers given to teachers. Now, everyone has to become familiar with that technical, those pieces and get used to using them. But our teachers are doing it, they're adjusting, and they're sharing, helping each other, and it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. Bob pointed out it's the first week of school. We need to be a little patient as these bugs are worked out, right, Ken?
Yep.
The webcams and the computers. And good thing we have our new infrastructure to hold this system, because a lot of teachers are going on live streaming. And as Ken pointed out to me one time, everybody in the district on live stream is quite a drain on the system. Am I right there, Ken?
That's correct.
Thanks, bud. I'm learning.
And
So
Ken didn't know he was going to have a speaking part tonight.
no, I just have
We're
to point
holding
that out because that's a popular topic. We're doing the best we can and make it work for our students, our parents, and our teachers. But this report, I go to building, starting with the elementary school, but that's where most of the work had to be done. Most of the construction, removing walls, putting up new walls, social distancing, and you'll see that. So most of it, the bulk is the elementary school, then the middle, then the high school. Ken, if you could do the slide for me, please.
Okay.
And actually go right to the second one, okay? We're beginning in the elementary school. Looks pretty good in that picture. We are very excited. I can tell you, parents I've communicated with via phone or email, how great it is to have kids back, getting off buses, being in buildings again. It was a very bizarre March through June. Thank God they're back. Then you'll see in the very next, nice, excited to see you. And then we have wash your hands, wear your mask, 6 feet apart, but they do it in a nice, gentle way throughout the elementary school. Ken? One needed thing, this is near the front door of the elementary school. You're not going to see it. We widened the vestibule for parents when they first come in, but we are not allowing outsiders in our buildings. This is protection for our receptionist in the elementary school. So we constructed this booth. She was kind of exposed there in that position in a chair. Now she's protected, functioning fine. She has a computer, phone. The window, you can't see it, but she can easily communicate with that microphone to the parent who's allowed into the vestibule. So this is one of the first pieces we had to do as far as construction goes. Ken? Once you're in the building, you'll see signs everywhere, face coverings there throughout the district. Then you have the social distancing, Mount Sinai, 6 feet apart on our floors. A lot of detail, a lot of money has been spent to protect our staff and students. Ken? Other than the vestibule, you'll see this is the front office. this is actually now incorporating the former principal's office. He was moved. We had to enlarge this office to social distance our secretaries. Out of our 3 buildings, this one, the elementary school, the office was the most efficient. So now it's much larger. Mr. Catlin was kicked out. He's across the hallway, and you'll get a picture of his office as well. But he did not object. Secretaries are happy with all the space. It's much better. Ken? Principal's across the street. Oh, not there. Go back. There you go. That's Mr. Catlin's office. Now I told him I'll help him invest in some pictures for the walls, but he was moved over there, and it's a nice office, but it's not as obvious. We're trying to make it clear where it's located in the building, and we're gonna have to move his sign, which now is principal, which every principal had, is still by the main office, so we got to move that across the street. But it's all working out. All of it was done for the opening of school, including this next slide, Ken. This is a new wall. Now, if a lot of you remember on the corner where the computer center was for our elementary kids, it was a very large room. That's why it was the computer center. We took a number of feet of that room and built a wall, which you see. We call it the sick bay. I don't like that word. We'll have to come up with another one. But this is now the nurse's office, as it was in the elementary school. She can walk through and have this area, because we want to separate those kids who are just not feeling well from those kids who have more serious symptoms. You know, and outside, there's an outside hallway on purpose, because if a child has a temperature, the nurse, who we extended her duties to help the other assisting nurse, brings the child, waits in that hallway by the door, and brings the child out to the parent if they have to go home. But this is a sick bay area, so the nurse's office was expanded as well. So up front, you have the vestibule, the booth, you have the expanded office, and you have the expanded nurse's office. Ken? Now, we repurposed rooms quite a bit throughout the district. This is the cafegimatorium. We also have it set up in case we need it for an alternative classroom. Not there, Ken, right there. So if a kid is sick or shows signs of that, and they're sent to the nurse, we can remove that class, immediately scrub down and clean that room, and keep the class in this cafegimatorium socially distant. Rob Catlin has a good policy and procedure over there, what to do when the kids get sick. And of course, we have Kathy Patino, who's incredible, great nurse. Ken? This is what our reality is now in our, down boy. Here's the reality of our classrooms with the desk screens around each student. You can see them wearing masks. The kids have been amazing. The desks spread out. Of course, some of these classes now had to be divided. We had to hire, and thank you to the board for allowing us to do that. So we have smaller classrooms. But this is the reality now. The teacher with the mask, the kids with masks and the shield, and it's been working out. Of course, you know, the kids have to be reminded about removing the mask. We try to give as many mask breaks as we can. Ken? Now, what I'm showing you on the left is actually that part of that computer room I was telling you. We took a portion of that and made it the nurse's office. That's a smart screen camera up above. And if you look at that little contraption attached to the smart screen camera, that is the webcam. 160 of these were put up in like 3 days. Then we had to rush the wiring as well. So this is the other side of that special addition to the nurse's office. This shines on the smart board and about 2 feet to the right, 2 feet to the left of the smart board. And we call that the teacher's stage area, from where they can teach and record on the webcam. Now they can record and live stream from that. They could record lessons and go through it and then post them. You know, what works best for them. In some classrooms, like on the right, teachers preferred it at their desk, and other areas in the room we accommodated them. Ken? Although it may not look it with the young man going behind the boy in the blue shirt, every bathroom in the building has an aide as a monitor. So kids social distance, one child in the bathroom at a time. And the big question when they get out, did you wash your hands? So you'll see this frequently throughout the presentation. The kids distance, I'm thinking that boy in the white shirt is on his way to the bathroom. But the kids, again, I'm gonna say, the kids have been great. And you'll see again, another location, no, back, there you go.
Up, one more.
Back,
Hold
one
on,
more ahead, one more ahead.
hold on.
One more, there you go. You'll see freestanding hand sanitizers throughout the 3 buildings. Okay, and then again, there's another aide. And of course, her job is to keep the kids separated, want to go to the bathroom, one in at a time, wash your hands. Again, elementary hallways have dividers down the middle. There are arrows that show you in which direction you should walk. And these have been successful, so you're not bumping into the people coming the other way in the hallway. Again, these are 2 hallways in the elementary school to show you how we do our best to separate them and their direction signs on the floor. Okay. Again, another aide, and you can see, looks like a lot of more boys need to use the bathroom than young ladies, but they're distancing, they're by themselves, they're not hanging out, and their masks are on. Again, I'm really amazed how great our kids have been in all 3 buildings. Okay. Here you are looking at a gym class. This gym is a part storage room for teachers' desks and shelves that we had to clear out to enable seating for our kids 6 feet apart. These are 12 feet apart, these hula hoops, to show these kids where they can go. Again, distancing mandates from the Department of Health calls for 12 feet apart, and phys ed, chorus and band as well. Okay. You'll see a music class being run in the gym, the piano pushed in. I don't know how Mr. Malone's singing with a mask, but the kids are singing and they have to be 12 feet apart. We really racked our brain to figure out how we can keep chorus alive and singing in the elementary school. Thanks, Ken. Next. Outside on the field, 12 feet apart. Our teachers, thank goodness we've had great weather. So our kids are going out as often as we can. And when we're very far apart and not next to someone, you get a mask break as well, which, you know, looking around the kids, they've been pretty much needed, especially if there's, you know, some rooms are not have air conditioning, whatever. It gets pretty much, but the teachers are very considerate bringing them outside. So there's another gym class with Amy outside. No, Ken? Finally, the ventilation. Now this gets me, I can refer to what we did when we hired our architect who sent an engineer to measure the air in every room, in every building in the district. This happens to be our faculty room, dining room where they are. Bob Dushnick, our chief mechanic, installed this and fixed it like he did most of the things on H2M's list. We had an itemized list from each building. We checked the ventilation. So you'll see this is an air purifying system Bob installed. And also when we can, we keep the windows open. Because prior to this, this was not acceptable. So like every room that didn't meet all the standards was upgraded. People were talking about MERV filters. Every air unit in every building has the largest capacity MERV filter we could put on it. What I learned about MERV filters is if my unit can take a 10 MERV filter, I can't go throw a 13 on it because a 13 will choke it out. So whatever the unit can handle, we put the best filter on, and these are going to be changed regularly. Okay. So we'll leave the elementary school. As you can see, there's a lot of work to be done there. It's all completed. All the work, all the architect's recommendations have been met in the 3 buildings, 100%. All right, Ken, next slide. This is the cafeteria after the lunch periods. Kids can't sit very well in that position. But on the tables, you'll see the X's where kids can sit and you'll see how far apart and distant they are from each other. Now, when you have to have the cafeteria seating like that, it doesn't enable you to obviously fit what you used to put in that cafeteria. So a gym is repurposed, which we'll show you a photograph of in just a moment. But outside on the right, through those doors, is a large concrete area where Elizabeth will be placing tables when the weather's nice, so kids could do outdoor dining as well and get fresh air. But social distancing at all times. And the building's immaculately clean, by the way. Next slide. Here is the first gym, the older gym in the middle school, where you could see it's not a gym anymore. It's repurposed as cafeteria number 2. So there are tables distant apart, so the kids aren't jammed up in here or in the real cafeteria. Again, a repurposed area, and there are a number of them, which you'll see. Okay? Sick bay area in the middle school. Should kids show signs, they're immediately come down, the nurse checks them. If they show a temperature, they come here, parents called, the child's escorted out of the building. Each building, as I showed you in the elementary, this is their sick bay area, and then I'll show you the high school when we get there. And Ron Feinberg is trying to conduct his orchestra, which is a challenge, being distanced apart, because Ron usually gets a lot of kids in his orchestra and does a great job. But look at how far apart the kids are. That's how he has to teach now. They can't be all together on the stage, so they're distanced apart in the auditorium. Okay, Ken. Our entrances in the middle school. Grade 5 has an entrance, grade 6 has their own entrance, and the buses drop our kids in those areas, those who are on the bus. Grade 7 has their entrance, and this one by the front door, which we're used to going in and out of for board meetings, is the 8th grade entrance. You'll see that there's a division there, so they can't grab it on the door. They come in one door on our left right now is where they come in. Those who exit go out on the right, and there's a divider there in the middle. Okay. Going up to the 5th grade wing, you'll see that that staircase, which used to be, trust me, when I go to observe and be in the building, go upstairs, especially during passing, you could barely squeeze through there with kids coming down and kids going up. Look how tight that is. And so both staircases now are only one direction. You go up, and in that hallway, the hallway is one direction, and then there's a down stairwell. So, and you're looking at the 2 stairwells for the 5th grade. Ken? This is the 5th grade entrance on the other side of the building, and the same thing, you can see the separation through the door, one way in, one way out. That's on all 4 entrances and exits. Ken? The nurse's office, again, we've divided it. You have different areas because you don't want to get other kids who are hurt or something else combined with kids with a temperature or more serious symptoms. So with various doors, the kids come to that door. If you watch the little video that they showed, the nurse comes out, takes the temperature, determines the symptoms, and that's where, based on the symptoms, that's where the student is placed. And then, of course, you see the hand sanitizer there as well. They're throughout the building. Ken? This is a science class, distance apart. Don't forget these kids here are on the upper grades, so they are hybrid at this point. And you'll see half them, but you can see how hybrid helps so they're not on top of one another and their distance. And 5th grade classroom out of the elementary school, the same thing you'll see. You'll see the desk shields around our kids. You'll see our kids wearing masks. Ken? Again, same as in the elementary school. You have a monitor separating the kids, making sure they're apart, one in the bathroom at a time, and make sure you wash your hands when you come out. All right, Ken. Talk about using imagination. You saw the piano in the doing a music class in the elementary school. Here's Miss Toolin outside with the piano with her chorus. They're on the field. These are challenges. but our teachers are being very creative and flexible and meeting those challenges. You can't not have the chorus. Ken? Then we go up to the high school, which actually physically needed the least, but we'll go inside here and we start with their sick bay area by the front door. As you know, we have a very large vestibule in the high school, and it's right by the front door. And the nurse, by the way, as you know, is down the hallway and on the right. So if a kid comes in with a temperature, they go right up the hallway and they wait here to be picked up. So you saw all kind of like all three sick bays so far. And these are the hallways in the high school. You see the one coming up from the doorway on the left. And this is the main hallway on the right, where there's dividers and the line. I can't believe how great the high school kids are up there. I've been up there a few days and watched them, how they cooperate between class. But I will tell you, it's a good thing we do have hybrid, because I think we can all remember that picture of, I think that was an Iowa school, Indiana school, with the kids in the hallway. We don't have that scenario here because we have 400 kids in the school on a day, not 800. And that hallway, you know, is pretty full with the 400, but I just couldn't even imagine when I see that 800 kids again in that hallway. If you ever go on a parent-teacher night at the high school, you know what I'm talking about, when classes change. So dividing, you'll see the arrows one direction. The kids follow the directions. They're great. And doesn't look like it much, but this is a cafeteria. Looks like kids ordered phones for lunch. I'm sorry. There's distance apart, and you know, I can remember where kids talked to each other one time, but there they are with their phones almost 6 feet apart, and again, they're being great. They have masks on in the cafeteria. Next one, that's cafeteria. Also on the right is the way the kids go in. It's one direction and exit only on that one side. You can't just jam in there. Middle school cafeteria, by the way, is the same thing. All right, Ken, jump me and put on, this is our orchestra here, being distanced apart. Now again, orchestra is not the threat that a band instrument is or chorus is, but they're still distanced apart. And this is Eric Blatt setting up chairs in the gymnasium for chorus rehearsal. Look at how far, again, he has to do 12 feet. And he has to set these desks up. So gym classes, alternating with gym classes. And also we didn't film it, but the auditorium is being used as well. So that's all I have. I took you through the three buildings. Again, the most of the work needed in the elementary school. It's completed. Air quality is best that we could achieve at this point. Where we had to do construction for the safety of our kids and staff, we did it. And I feel pretty good about it. And the custodial staffs are amazing. If you go through those buildings, they're immaculate. Immaculate. That's the end of my program.
Just to add, Gordon, you and I, just prior to school starting up,
Right.
took our annual inspection tour. We went to pretty much every classroom. We weren't going to photograph every classroom, but teachers were measuring out where they had to move the desks. It's
Right.
why we removed some things from their classrooms. Some of the installation or changes to the nursing areas, we wanted to have a separate bathroom and water service. That was installed. We had to address some areas where we improved ventilation, but we also have a lot of things that we now use, opening the back doors in terms of the interior courtyard in the middle school. We got screens to put in, and they're going to be installed so that the doors can be opened, so that the courtyard can be used to bring in fresh air into the room. So there was a lot of thinking that went on in preparation for the return of the students, and frankly, it seems to have gone very well.
Yeah, and Pete up at the high school, Bob, is talking about routes using the ground right next to the main hallway to get kids outside, walking in one direction into the other wings. So I think we'll be seeing that happening shortly.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions on the agenda that you see, Steve?
We don't actually have any questions. We just had two comments praising the edifications to the elementary school and how well the vestibules are working. Other than that, I haven't seen any questions.
All right, thank you. Let's move on then to B, appointments. Rob? Remember, you're probably muted.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Appointments, instructional Spanish teacher Mary Steinbrecher. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following probationary appointment. Name of employee, Mary Steinbrecher. Start date, September 1st, 2020. Expiration date, August 31st, 2024. Tenure area, Spanish. Compensation, step A, BA. Certification status, initial.
May I have a second?
Second
I'll
that.
second that.
Thank you, Pete. I believe, Gordon, if I'm correct, during our tour of all three buildings, we ran into and met, or at least I met this new teacher who was bringing her things in.
Yeah, she's it was like fate that she's a Shore Wading River kid and used to come to our campus all the time to watch sporting events and knows many of the people, are both union heads, knew her brothers and father from Miller Place. It was crazy how it all was like karma. What a great person.
Very good. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 So carries. Number 2, Pete, would you do substitute teachers?
Number 2, substitute teachers. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following substitute teacher appointments based on the agreement with the Teachers Association dated August 26, 2020, as listed.
Perfect. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Any comments? Gordon, as I understand it, these are some of the additional teachers that are coming on for the year to allow for classes to be split where we had room.
Right, they did come on, went along with our agreement and with the union, and they're with us, and they're really good people. I met a number of them, and they're going to be with us as long as we're open. And let's hope that's all year long.
Great. All those in favor indicate by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 3, Pete, would you complete that? Substitute teacher?
Number 3, substitute teacher. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following substitute teacher appointment. Alyssa Sardone, start date September 1st, 2020. Substitute teacher, compensation $111 per day.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Lisa, 6, number 4, 6th class assignment.
For sixth class assignment, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following 6th class teaching positions for the 2020-21 school year as listed.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments? All in favor indicate by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ed, would you please address number 5, clubs and advisors?
Clubs advisors. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the following co-curricular clubs and appoints the persons listed below as advisors for the 2020-21 school year as listed.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments? All in favor, please indicate by aye.
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 Pete, Dean of Students.
6, Dean of Students, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointments for the 2020-21 school year. Harold Drum, Dean of Students, 2 periods per day. Matthew Armstrong, Dean of Students, 2 periods per day.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Rob. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And Anne Marie, C, appointments, non-instructional.
School District Aide, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following school district aide position for Michelle Carrion, start date September 11th, 2020, in the area of school district aide, compensation, step 1.
Second.
Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Rob, substitute custodians.
Substitute custodian, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointments as listed.
Thank you.
I
May I have a
second that.
Thank you, Pete. Any comments? Madam Clerk, please indicate my abstention. All those in favor, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Vote carries. Steve, action items, educational.
Committee on Special Education, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education has no objections to the following special education recommendations and approves the authorization for funds to implement the special education program and services consistent with such as listed based on special education meeting dates.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor indicate by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ed, would you mind doing obsolete item or
Obsolete item, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby declares the following items as obsolete and authorizes disposal as listed.
May I have a second? Thank you. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Thank you, aye. Rob B, District Resident Liaison.
District Resident Liaison, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby appoints Abel Fernandez as District Resident Liaison for the 2020-2021 school year at a yearly stipend of $1,000.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Indicate by aye. Aye. Pete, school tax levy.
C, school tax levy, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby establishes the 2020-21 school district tax levy in the amount of $41,396,602.
Thank you. May we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments?
Bob, your mic is
Okay,
breaking up really badly. Is it a wireless mic? Your microphone is breaking up badly.
Okay. How's that better?
No, maybe the battery's dying on it. It's the same.
Steve, would you please do D?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby establishes the 2020-2021 public library tax levy in the amount of $1,762,292.40.
Second.
Okay.
That's good.
Better?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I did not vote in D, so please record my vote as aye. E, bid award, commercial irrigation. Lisa.
Bid award, commercial irrigation, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby awards the bid for commercial irrigation to Irrigation Solutions, the lowest responsible bidder for the 2020-2021 school year as listed below.
Thank you, Lisa. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Great. F, district-wide safety plan, Anne Marie.
District-wide safety plan. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby adopts the amended district-wide safety plan that is posted on the district website for public review and comment.
Second.
May I have a second? Thank you. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Thank you. G, district-wide school safety team. Rob?
District-wide school safety team. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves of the following members of the district-wide school safety team as listed.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Okay. Leads us to our questions.
Okay, we have a couple, a few that are redundant, but I'll just start with the one that's on its own. Question about if we are continuing with losing instructional days, are we planning to use snow days or taking times of vacation, and when will the determination be made on that? I know you did discuss earlier that we're not talking about anything until after the school year, but I just wanted you to have the question available.
Yes, as we said, we're in the process of examining the number of school days and any adjustment to them over the next couple of weeks. At this point,
the other three questions basically are all leaning towards the same thing. Questioning about mask breaks for both middle school and high school. Some were talking about the fact that the high school students do not have any true mask breaks. I know in the hallways that the kids are always required to wear them as well. And even in one of the pictures, it was noted that while the kids were singing outside in distance, they're wearing masks. So is there a plan for mask breaks for middle school and high school students?
I'll speak to the principals about it. Again, I'll be visiting buildings tomorrow, and I do that. I'll watch for that and put that on my list to watch. But I have been in the middle school frequently. I do see the mask breaks. Outside my windows, I see mask breaks. High school, I'm not that certain about, but I will definitely speak to Pete Paramitaris about it.
There is a question asking about clubs. I believe we've already addressed that about no after-school activities, but they're specifically asking about math and science clubs and Ocean Bowl.
at this point, I don't think, Gordon, we have not considered that at this point. As we have said, as we progress, we'll see what other things we can be considering, but we're taking each step at a time. The clubs that you saw on the agenda, I'll address that and then leave the other clubs to Gordon, were viewed that were the least involved with gathering
Exposure.
students.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Ocean Bowl, I don't even know if that will be run this year. I have to speak to Andy Matthews. You know, that's basically driven by Stony Brook, not necessarily our high school. It's an organization, so I can ask about that one. As Bob said, I think we're waiting and seeing now, watch what happens for this 4-week period, and then make further decisions. So I won't say absolutely never.
There's a question about the COVID paperwork, asking if there's any exploration into using an app instead of papers.
I can speak to people about that. No, that I don't think we've considered that at this point.
Okay. Again, with masks, is there a reason that they're wearing masks while walking on the track?
If they're distant, I don't see, if they're 12 feet apart, I would think they could take their mask off on the track outside if they're 12 feet apart. So that's something to talk to Scott Ray about.
Also, along the lines of that, they're asking if there's plans to do anything in phys ed besides walking.
I will, they're supposed to be doing an emphasis on mental health, but I will see that. I know my son's walking a lot too, and he's eating more. So I'll talk to Scott about other activities other than walking.
There's a question regarding the elementary school about seeing if there's any better plans to get the kids dropped off at 8:30 per the school staggered drop-off, sitting on the floor for a half an hour.
I would contact the building principal and ask about that one. I wasn't aware they were sitting there half an hour, but I think that they can have that discussion with the principal without issue.
This one is a high school question regarding webcams. They're asking if the teachers, especially AP, can use their webcams for live instruction. The students would get more information from that rather than reading articles.
If that reading articles keeps up, I would contact the teacher, as I put in my frequently asked questions, contact the teacher and the principal. It shouldn't just be that. Teachers should be on camera, and if they're not posting their lessons, and many are done live, I've sent the board a few samples of those lessons that I've seen. But there should be, yes, they have webcams. Some are getting used to it. I can't make them live, but they can record them and post them the same day. I had a meeting with all the administrators and directors today. So I would contact the teacher and say, what's up about that? If that's going on. If that's what you're seeing, you should absolutely call the principal and say, my child has this teacher and that's what's happening. And if
We
you don't
are,
get-
as a board, Gordon, we are going to again reiterate that live presentations are preferred. Recorded lessons are also acceptable. Sending home packets or canned material is not.
Right, absolutely.
And I know last week you had follow-up meetings, and we will continue to have follow-up meetings.
Yep.
To
And
address
another one today. Yep. And I'm going
Yeah.
to go in and I'll be speaking to teachers directly about what they're doing. And starting my observations in October, I'll be asking the teachers, and they plan with me, what do you do? Tell me what your lesson's about. Take me through the lesson you're sending home.
Okay, and the last two questions we have are specifically about social distancing. There's questions about what the numbers of students are in the elementary school, and then as well in the high school, there's reports of potentially more than 18 students in the classes. Are 6-foot distances existing in all of the classes, and are we following distance rules?
Was that saying 18 in a room in the high school?
Yes.
Well, in the high school, some rooms are bigger. I don't know what the count is, but they were generally 14, 15. I'd have to see what that class is, and specifically. In the elementary school, as you know, we just hired all those people trying to keep it as low as we can. And the counts at this point, they might be better off contacting the principal, sending an email and say, what are those counts at present?
And that's all we have.
Thank you, Steve. I'll take a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, indicate by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Good
all.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.